I came across with this little story quoted from by a priest. It says that there's a story is told about a donor who sent a check of 1 million to a charitable institution to the delight of the people running it, those who are working on that charitable institution. Their joy was short-lived, however, when they saw that the check he sent was not signed, and that is because the donor wanted to remain anonymous. It's no use. My dear friends, in today's gospel, it's about giving. It's about being generous. And it is about also trusting God. The widow in the first reading and in the gospel gave all that they have. And at the end, it's about trusting the Lord. My dear friends, if we look at history, all the people whom we respect and honor now are those who gave up something or someone for the sake of greater value and greater purpose. Maybe some of us here who are in this Mass are veterans. So for this week, there are programs that we honor veterans this week. And I know that we know that maybe it's very hard to go somewhere and to sacrifice yourself. And I think maybe they have choices. They could have, choose to stay here with the family to be safe from everyone. But we know that the choice that they made to serve the country, to serve the people, to serve others has greater value than the things for themselves. So it's good to take time also as we reflect on that generosity, on that giving of oneself and trusting the Lord, to think of people who, like the widow in the first reading and in the gospel, they don't have much in life. They are unknown, and yet in their heart there is kindness, there is goodness, there is generosity. Maybe in their being poor, they totally trusted in the providence of God. My dear friends, during this time, especially during COVID time, for sometimes, these are unfortunate events that happen in our lives. But despite of this, we know, and this is consoling too, that despite of all these circumstances or the circumstance of pandemic, we realize that there are good people. There are still so many good people around. Because there's a lot I know that many of us in the church too, we have our own share of taking care of one another, of trying to protect one another, of serving one another the best we can. So it's good to thank the Lord for having this in the hearts of each one. There are countless unknown people in our midst who never hit the headlines, but whose names are written in heaven and will never be erased from the hearts of those whose lives they have touched. This world, I believe, is still full of generous and anonymous people who help make this world beautiful and go round. For just the light, when you talk about giving, and most of the time we quote this saying. It says, "It is better to give than to receive." More than us reflecting of that at the light side of that. According to one author, he said that this is Baxter's favorite saying. It is better to give than to receive. But it's not the way we look at it as believers of the Lord. Instead, the boxer will hurt when they give their pants. But for us, most of the time, sometimes we hurt. Sometimes, and most of the time, we sacrifice when we give. And this is something that we reflect upon, that in giving ourselves, in helping others, and also in giving ourselves to the Lord, what are the sacrifices that we make? What are the hurts that we experience? My dear friends, the challenge for us is, let us continue to do good generously and anonymously. And you will experience a kind of joy that the world cannot give nor take away. The church too is founded on the generosity of God, who gave himself selflessly to save us, to forgive our sins. This is being shared by the believers in giving what they have, their lives to the Lord. The temporal goods of the church, we realize that the facilities that we use are from your generosity, from good people who believe in the goodness of God. My dear friends, the church will continue its mission through the generosity of the faithful who were touched by the goodness of God. So let us be inspired to give generously and anonymously, but don't forget to sign your checks when you give. Let us share not only the best that we have, but the best of who we are.